guys, it's Oля today with you, and I'm making video collaborations with one very nice vlogger, Conor Clyne, and Conor Clyne?
Yes, correctly. Clyne.
Okay, Clyne.
I'm Irish, but I don't have a very Irish sounding name. That's true. I have
Okay.
my first name is very Irish. Conor McGregor. Everybody should know it from that.
Okay, yeah. So guys, I really recommend you his channel even before we start to talk, because he's traveling a lot around all Eastern Europe. He's making huge amount of videos about girls, and he's exactly shooting girls on the street, asking them so many questions. So if you have any questions about girls, you need to visit his channel. If you have questions what to do with $1,000 in any kind of countries, you can see his channel again. He's making really amazing videos, much better than me. So yes, I recommend subscribe to his channel if you are subscribed to me. Okay, and today we decided to talk with you about stereotypes, and so actually which stereotypes people has before they come into Ukraine. And Conor is a traveler, he had these stereotypes as well, so now we will discuss with him a little bit.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the fantastic introduction, Olga. Yeah, my channel, just so I let people know what countries, is not just Ukraine, it's also Belarus and Romania and Moldova. I'm going to be in this summer, so if you want to see what it's like to travel those countries, and you know, obviously there are beautiful girls there, which is what Olga already pointed out, so definitely tune in. And yeah, you're going to see my channel. Also an opportunity to go to my website, czarexperience.com, and you know, learn more stuff right there. So we have 5 stereotypes. These are things that both of us have received as comments or questions that we get quite often, right? So people have never traveled to Ukraine before, and I was in that position, right? Maybe about 10 years ago before I came. So the first thing, which is not really a bad stereotype if you're an Irish guy like me, which is that Ukrainians drink a lot and are always drinking vodka, for example, right? This is one that is always a stereotype, and that was probably true. I mean, I'm going to give my experience having now come here and spent loads of time and, you know, fantastic time here in Ukraine. I think that was probably true in the 90s maybe as a stereotype, but today actually Ukrainians want to drink things like whiskey. It's kind of like a status thing from what I can see. Is like vodka is considered a little bit like, because it's here and it's produced here, it's not very sophisticated or cool to drink. So what I see is actually that Ukrainians like to drink things like whiskey or rum, foreign drinks, foreign cocktails, more than the traditional, let's get a bottle of vodka, davai, and we drink and we toast together. That's still part of the culture, but more traditional. And the fact that they're drunk all the time, well, not as much maybe as Irish people.
Yeah.
But you can see drunk people walking around in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
in the city.
And actually, you know, somehow it's true, it's not, but when people say that Ukrainians drink vodka, it means that yes, because you know, a lot of other countries, they don't drink vodka at all. So in Ukraine, this drink is present, it's true, but it doesn't mean that everybody is drinking it. And yeah, this is something cheap, this is something the most available, but yeah, a lot of rich guys or who has some money, they try to choose something different. And in general, they try not to get so much drunk. Like really, you are right,
Yeah.
it was in 90s, because now people try to have like intelligent drink, you know, not to go crazy on their force to the whole. Yeah.
And I think there's a new culture, right? That people are more into sport and health than maybe they were 10 years previously. Like you see in, say, Western Europe or North America, maybe a little bit further behind, but it's going that direction. So it's quite often that girls that go out don't want to drink very much alcohol,
true.
for example.
True.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think we would change it in a better way.
More healthier way.
Yeah,
The Irish are not changing as quickly, unfortunately, when I go back. Yeah, now the second stereotype that I get a lot, and this is one I'm going to address in another video that I'm actually making here in Kiev, is Ukraine is dangerous. It's like the Far East, like people, dragons be there kind of like vibe. Like if you come here, like you'll disappear into a black hole, and there's war, and it's dangerous, and people will rob you, and all this kind of stuff. And I have to say, before I came, I knew very little about Ukraine. I was like, okay, I'm coming as a solo traveler to Ukraine. Am I going to survive this, right? And on my first trip, I did have some. I mean, okay, I survived them, but I did have some things happen to me, like I was drugged. I'm going to go a lot more in depth into that in my channel, but what happened the first trip I came. So some things did happen to me that were a little bit unsavory, and I think that was mainly because I was naive, right? I had never been here before. My Russian was basically very basic, and I had no idea about the culture, so I think I just got like exploited by a lot of unsavory characters, the kind of unscrupulous people who target those kind of naive travelers. Since then, my experience has been like, I mean, I feel safer here than I do in Dublin at night for sure, right? I mean, or even London. Like I get a lot more problems
I hear
in London.
Too. That London is much more dangerous. But you know, guys, I think that the word dangerous, it's something very, very general. So it means from which point you are measuring this, you know, dangerous things. So Ukraine is not dangerous in the case of brutality in gangsters, that you are walking on the street and somebody can grab you, kill you, or put the knife on your chest or something like that. We don't have it. Maybe it can happen, and it can happen in any part of the world, but this is something very rare. The things which I consider some kind of even not dangerous, but so much complicated for foreigners, because you need to understand that not a lot of people in Ukraine speak English. And if you are traveling to Kiev, Kharkiv, Lviv, this is very touristic city, especially you are staying in downtown, you will experience with a lot of touristic things, you will be very fine. But if you want to travel alone to some deep village or some regions, you may find a lot of complications because people in hotel don't speak English, the signs on the street is not in English, and you want to buy food, it's not in English. Even in if you come to supermarket, you see all the names of Ukrainian, you don't know what is milk, you don't know what is other products, what is it written at all. So this is kind of complications, and if you are such person who are not ready to face with any complications, you might be in a very big depression maybe, and for you it will be some kind of dangerous. But if you are a little bit more open-minded, you know, if you know how to figure out things in the situation, even if you don't speak language, it will be fine. So it's not dangerous for your life, but it can be some kind of not very comfortable if you don't know language.
I think
and
that's
travel
right.
into deep village.
Yeah, I think it's uncomfortable because you're a little bit disorientated. Like that's what happened to me. I didn't speak Ukrainian and I arrived in Lviv and I only spoke a tiny bit of Russian. I really struggled, right? It was so tiring, and you know, I felt like a little bit lost. But I think once you overcome that, or if you're just in a big city today, like I think Lviv is very touristic. You're not going to have problems today like I did 10 years ago when I first came. The third stereotype, which is kind of funny, I think, in hindsight, is that Ukrainians are not friendly, that they're unfriendliest people. I think this is the same stereotype you get about Russians. So before I came, I mean, I had studied a little bit of Russian, as I said, and I met Russians. I had dated a few Russian-speaking girls in the US because I studied there at graduate school. So I thought, like, Russian speakers are cool, right? I mean, they're just like, whether Ukrainian or Russian or Moldovan, they're super friendly, you know, when you know. But I understand that there's a different form of politeness here, which is that basically people are impolite by Western or North American standards. When they serve you, or if you meet them, people are like this. They don't smile at you. They don't look like they're angry and you know, upset. And that was something that took a little bit of while to get used to, particularly because I spent a lot of time in Brazil. And in Brazil, everyone's like, "Hey, tudo bem, tudo de joia." You know, everyone's like beaming with a big smile.
And hugging.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone high fives you all the time, like even if they don't really know you, which has the downside of being a little bit more superficial as a society. Whilst here, what I find is like the formality is people don't smile at you unless they know you or they're really happy to see you. Otherwise, they're a lunatic, right? That's basically the way it works. So once you get used to that, and you realize that this is politeness versus friendliness, right? Because here people I find are so warm and so welcoming in general. Like they're a lot more friendly than other places where I lived. Like I lived in southern Germany, in Munich. And in Munich, it's a great comparison because people are really polite. The formality level in German is quite high there. So everyone's like, "Guten Tag," blah, 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 blah. But they were really the most unfriendly people and coldest-hearted people I ever had to spend time with. When you actually came to like building a deep connection with them, was a lot more difficult than it is here in Ukraine.
Yeah, I can say the same. That I think the measurements, how you estimate if people is friendly or not friendly, for Americans, for example, it's totally different. So yeah, in States, everybody expose his like feelings. I don't know. So everybody smile to you. They ask, "How are you? How are you doing? Is everything okay?" Even if you come just to the cashier, they still ask you so many questions. In Ukraine, people are much more close, yes, inside, but if they really know you, if they got to know you, they're really friendly. They will take you to their home, they will show how they live, they will prepare you a lot of food, they will try to show you the best and give you some gifts, even if they are very poor, still they want to give you everything what they have, and this is really our nature. So we are friendly, but we are not smiling to everybody on the street, we are not hugging everybody on the street, but once you just get connected to someone, he will show you all his soul, all his family, all his relatives. You will get home with so many gifts, right?
Yeah,
for sure you must have that experience. Back in home with so many gifts, and yes, so we are really friendly.
Definitely, for sure. The fourth stereotype is that Ukraine is poor and underdeveloped. So, I mean, this would have been my impression as well before I came. I looked at like the GDP per capita figures, and they were super low. This is even before the economic crisis that hit the country, like post-Maidan or just before when Yanukovych, the former Russian president, was in power, right? Before the economy kind of imploded. And it is true that the country is poor by US, Canadian, or Western European standards. Yeah, there's no denying that. The infrastructure is a bit outdated in general because a lot of it's like a legacy of the Soviet Union. It's solid, but it's not very new. There are a few exceptions like new airports. The trains are actually pretty good between the main cities. I think they're actually better than a lot of like countries in the EU. But it is true that it is poor. That said, the statistics lie completely. Like, I don't know how much of the money here is declared, but people are not as poor as when you read those statistics. Like
statistics is not showing at all. This is what I need to tell. Yes, a lot of people say people earn $200 per month. How they live at all? And this is true. Some people really earn this money, but most of the people, they hide their income. They don't pay taxes totally for nothing, and you never know how much they earn. And they earn exactly the same salary like people in US, but they live with Ukrainian prices. They travel everywhere abroad because compare average Ukrainian and average American, how many countries abroad they visit, they will be shocked, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. The people are just not declaring the money here. I believe that's why. At least they're not in the official statistics. Because I'll give you a great example. I came here, it's like 3 or 4 years ago with some French friends, and we spent New Year's Eve here. Actually, we're going to spend New Year's Eve in Berlin. So 2 or 3 days before, we were here in Kiev, partying, whatever. And then we went to Warsaw. At least I went to Warsaw on the way to Berlin. So I'm going into the EU, a country that's really developed economically in the last 10 years. Like the developments in Poland are fantastic. Infrastructure, standard of living. But I went out in Warsaw and I thought, okay, the nightlife and the luxury level is lower than Kiev. It feels like I went to a poorer country. Like it was a bit bizarre. And that's because the society is very different, right? Here, I mean, if you have money and you want to spend it, like you can do everything you could in New York City. Like you can do it in Kiev. In Warsaw, I'm not really so sure you can do that because people are a lot more, I think, modest, and maybe there's more of a middle-class culture that people don't show off the wealth or spend it or splurge it, like you're going to see here in Ukraine or in Russia. If you go to Russia, it's like completely different Novo-Russian mentality, so Novo-Russian mentality. So with that said, it is poor, and there is problems at times with the infrastructure, but it's not as poor as you would imagine. And definitely, if you want to come here and, like I say, have a life like a baller, like just live it up and party and have fun, this is the place in Europe to do it because you can find all the luxury that you need, and the prices are going to be a fraction of New York, LA, Miami, or London, for example, for sure. Yeah. So I'm not sure if you have anything else that you think about
stereotypes?
Yeah.
No, I think this is really the main stereotypes. And no, I know one. I know one. Yeah, I know fifth. That I will tell you even that Ukrainian girls, they always want money. So tell me if this is true, and then I will explain you what I'm thinking about that.
So I made a video recently that went viral, which is called 5 Reasons Never to Date a Ukrainian Girl. And before you all hate on me, I still like Ukrainian women, but you got to understand the caveats that I put into that video, which is that I think the difference is primarily, I don't actually think that Ukrainian women are that much more materialistic. I think there's not a big difference between women in the US or Western Europe. I think societally, it's a lot more acceptable here to be open about it and be direct about it. And I think that's a big difference. Like what I noticed in Western Europe is a lot of girls would say, yeah, he has a good job, his status, no top of things, but what they really mean is the guy has money. And it's just society is not acceptable to be as openly materialistic. Well, here, no one gives a crap. Like a beautiful girl is going to say, I want a rich guy. Just be open about it. And I expect all these presents. And I think that's a lot of girls here for sure. It depends who you're going to attract as a guy. Like if you go out and you're like throwing money about and buying girls gifts and doing all this stuff, of course, this is the kind of women you attract. If you do that on the Côte d'Azur and Nice, believe me, you'll attract women at about, at the same, who want the same kind of stuff if you behave like that. So I think it's a lot to do with your behavior. I think a lot of women in Ukraine actually are really modest and not materialistic at all. And I think it's just about how you build those connections with people as you travel. I always go to places that I really enjoy and I'm really enthusiastic about, passionate about, and I meet girls who have common interests, right? And that's very different to meeting someone who's primarily like, yeah, I meet you in the richest club in Kiev and you've got a table and you're splurging champagne everywhere. I mean, obviously there's a different basis in which we connect. So I would say overall, I don't think it's that much different. I think maybe a little bit more materialistic. And I think especially if you're a foreigner and you come here and you don't speak Russian, you don't understand the culture, you will definitely be seen in Odessa 100% as like a meal ticket by a lot of unscrupulous girls who only see foreign guys as idiots with with a bank card to spend on them. But if you come here and spend time, get to know the people, really are passionate and interested and curious about the culture, then you'll meet completely normal girls who are not materialistic at all. That's my experience
I
personally.
think this is really true because Ukrainian girls for sure they're not searching only for money. But yeah, first Conor said right that you are searching in the wrong place. If you're going to the most rich nightclub and the most luxury, for sure girls is coming here exactly with the purpose to meet someone rich. So yeah, in every country you will find some percentage of the girls who want to have rich men, who don't want to do anything, they want just find someone and sit with him like sugar daddy. And you are doing exactly the same when you are coming to Ukraine. You are going to the most luxury nightclub. You are searching for the most nice looking girls. So no, I want her to have really nice body shape. I want her to have really nice face, and she will be like 45, but she must look like 25. For sure, you attract exactly the wrong woman. If you don't want to have materialistic girl, you don't need to search even in these places, and you will find really nice, very modest and money-saving girl.
Exactly, like a girl who's dressed to the nines and like designer Western gear that costs like clothes that cost 20,000 euros with jewelry. Like, I mean, she got them from somewhere. Either she made the money herself, which is possible, right? So if you talk and she turns out to be a CEO of a company, then fine. Or she has a rich husband or boyfriend or a rich family. Okay, this is the reality. Or she's expecting you to finance that kind of lifestyle. So use your brain a little bit and search for people that you have a genuine connection with and genuine interest. And I think you'll do really well in Ukraine. There are lots of beautiful girls here and a lot of interesting, educated women. It's not only gold diggers or women who are interested in your money.
Yeah, guys. So this was 5 main stereotypes which everybody has about Ukraine, and I think you really clarified a lot of things. And again, don't forget to visit Conor's channel,
My channel and
because he is
website,
very
yeah.
experienced. He has what to compare. I don't have even how to compare so many European countries, Eastern European countries like he. So he can give you really a lot of tips, and it can be very useful for you for your travel.
Looking forward to seeing you guys on my channel. And as I said, a lot of trips coming to Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova and Romania this summer. So if you're into those countries, come along for the ride. And yeah, hopefully you're going to see Olga there on my channel as well pretty soon. So, до свидания, до побачення.
Bye bye.